Hey everybody, it's Jesse with Brown Mint Horror here. Once again, we're back with another exclusive interview with an independent horror filmmaker and writer director. Um, this time is Molly Wise from the United Kingdom. Molly, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast here today. We're excited to hear about what you're doing, upcoming projects, and kind of how you got into doing all of this. Super excited to have you here. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
So, yeah. So right off the bat, you're in the United Kingdom. You're
Yeah.
a indie filmmaker. Tell us about how you got into doing all of this.
So originally I was not going to be in film. I was going to be in theater.
Mhm.
And I was doing makeup. So I was doing like all the gore makeup for theater. So
Cool.
I would there was one play we did, Oedipus and Antigone, and I had 30 seconds to paint bloody eyes over this guy's eyes because he pulls them out in the play before he was then raised up back onto the stage.
Oh, sweet. So,
Yeah.
so your initial foray into the film world was for a play,
Yeah.
and it was a very gory task that was laid upon you. So
Yeah.
fantastic. You're seeing eyeballs pop out left and right these days in horror. So um, that's awesome. Did you did the bug kind of bite you at because of that, or was it something that you had grew up watching or something? Like what got you into wanting to be a filmmaker?
So I've always loved film, but I think where I'm from, it wasn't really viable. Like,
Mhm.
um, I think I'm just from at school, it was very much like you didn't go into anything creative necessarily. Um, so I just never really thought of it as a viable option, being a director. That just sounded like being president or something. It sounded a bit out there.
Far-fetched.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically I thought I'll be a makeup artist, and I started doing all these makeup projects, and I was like, how am I going to showcase them? And so I started making little films to go with them. Um,
Oh
and
wow,
that
that's awesome.
Yeah, and that was when I realized I was like, I don't like doing makeup. Which is really freeing to admit.
Right.
I like the stories and that aspect of it.
Well, you actually have a story that I can't wait to get into later. Everybody, we're going to cover Molly's most recent work, Venus and Mars. It's a short film that's available on her YouTube channel, free to watch. Everyone needs to go check that out. It's 16 minutes and change long, so you definitely can weasel it in on a bathroom break at work, or maybe riding in the car, or just enjoying it from your computer like I did. You won't be disappointed. I can't wait to talk about that with you later.
Oh,
Um, Let me see here. So, growing up in the UK, I mentioned this to someone else in another interview. Um, was there films in the home? What was that like? Kind of did you grow up with a love for film? Did you rent films? Did you have to make sure you caught something on television? What was that like?
yeah, definitely. I remember Blockbuster before that left us. um,
Nice.
yeah. I remember we had, but in my village we didn't have a Blockbuster. We had an independent video store. Um,
Mom and pop, if
and
you will.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yes.
so I remember renting what I thought was the scariest thing in the world, which was Spider-Man with the Green Goblin. That terrified me.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. There was something about that. I was like 6, but I remember we would rent that a lot, and I was like freaked out.
I think that I could actually I could totally see that Willem Dafoe. stole every
Scary
scene that he
guy.
was in that film. Yeah. Oh, definitely a scary guy. Um, I'm trying to think. Did you see him in The Lighthouse?
Yes, incredible, incredible
He was pretty
actor.
freaky in that.
Yeah, he's got just such a great face for camera. Like he's got so many expressions. Like he must be
Oh,
so great to film.
yeah, absolutely. So, oh my God, you were 6 years old whenever Spider-Man 1 came out.
I
Okay.
don't know if
What's
I
that?
even I think they might have came out like a bit after I was, before I was, I don't know, but
Oh,
it was
wow. Okay.
it was being sold at the video store when I
God,
was
I
that
feel
age, I'm pretty
old.
sure.
I feel so old. Okay. Um, so well, let's see if we can date you here. Um, when you went into Blockbuster to rent your films,
Yeah.
um, did they have VHS copies or only DVDs and Blu-rays?
So when I was at the very young age, then they had VHS. But by the time I got to teen years
Okay,
and I was renting them myself, there was no VHS. It was gone.
gotcha.
I remember seeing a DVD for the first time and I was like, high tech. I
Yeah,
feel like
exactly.
where I am anyway, we're a little bit in the past. So I
Right,
think we held on to those things a bit longer.
right. I mean, I still have not well. You see the collection behind me. I still have several
Yeah.
VHSs, but um, now they're getting to be almost like, well, here in the States, collecting VHS is almost getting to be as important and um, how would you put it? Um, mm, it's getting to be almost as popular as collecting vinyl records.
Like quite a trendy thing to do.
Very trendy. And the couple of places that we have here in Nashville that still have um, used VHS to purchase, it's almost like they know what they have.
Mm,
And it's a very pretty price tag on some of them.
is it?
You're
Ah.
yes, you're almost never going to get a horror film on VHS used anymore locally.
Mm.
Not definitely not a franchise title such as like a Halloween or a Nightmare on Elm Street. I think a lot of those go directly to their online sites and they're sold, $20-$30 sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
crazy. But you can still catch a few out there in the wild. I was I was lucky enough that I got in before that craze, and I've looked up a few titles that I have on the shelf, just to see what they're going for on eBay, and I'll hold on to a few for sure. But one of my earliest memories of, um, well, I would probably say when I was about 8 years old, my favorite thing to do was um, go to the rental stores, video
Mm.
rental stores, and their middle section was where all of the older titles were. So I don't know if they had this at the mom and pop that you went to, but the one that we had in our little small town was you could rent 5 VHS for 5 days for $5.
Ah.
So as a young man, I got a whole $10 a week as an
Oh.
allowance. Okay. So really I only got $5 because every Friday I went and rented 5 flicks.
Nice.
And I remember watching stuff before anybody ever talked about it, like Office Space and Sling
Ah.
Blade and Shawshank Redemption. And, I'm going into fourth grade talking about these films, and everybody's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. What was that like for you? Did you come across anything um, when you on your rental days? Did you come across anything that you're like, hey, I'll give this a whirl, and then it ended up being just fantastic? Does anything pop out to you?
Yeah, I think the best films I ever watched was at my friend's house, because my parents are not into horror. They're into film, they're not into horror.
Got
But
it.
my friend's parents had a massive collection. So I
Ooh.
remember the best films I ever watched were around her house. And that was where I saw all of my Nightmare on Elm Street's, Halloween's, like everything was around her house. So that was cool. That was nice. House of Wax, I watched around there. That freaked me out, but very cool.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's something about it's net with horror films, there's something about, for some reason, they're never in your house. They're always at a friend's house.
Yes.
The friend's family always had the horror flicks. And I don't
Yeah.
know why that is. Growing up, I can remember my mother was definitely into horror flicks. We just didn't have very many, but anything that came on TV, she always made me sit down and watch it with her. But
That's
going
cool.
to a friend, yeah, one of my
Cool
best
mum.
friends growing up. Yeah, one of my best friends growing up though. He had, this is the classic story, all American horror story. He had an older brother
Yeah.
who had a basement room, and along the wall he had shelves, and there was a local video shop that had cleared out, and he had went and bought every horror VHS that they had.
Nice.
So my God, it was incredible, because I didn't know there was a Halloween 4 or a Halloween 3. So I sit down with my buddy and we go to pick a flick, and I'm like, there's a sequel to that. There's a sequel to that. And I mean, some of them are good, some of them are bad, but I remember I remember watching Phantasm for the first time in that
Oh.
basement. Do you remember that flick?
Yeah.
Pretty
Oh
crazy. The old man, the silver
my
balls with the
God.
spikes on them. My buddy was describing this flick to me, and I was like, that sounds like junk. And then you
And then
watch
you
it.
watched it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible. And then of course they
Amazing.
have 4 sequels now. So
Yeah.
anyways, sounds like video rentals. The majority of the folks that I talk to that have become independent horror filmmakers, it seems that the renting time in their life was it was pretty influential, to say the least.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this. Here we are. Let's see here. I'm going to cut right here, probably.
Cool.
I'm rambling, trying to gather my thoughts. Hold on one sec.
That's all right.
Let me see here. So we talked about backstory. Okay, so all right, Molly. So now here you are. You're a writer and a director. Tell us a bit about what happened when the light bulb went off, or like you felt that urge, like, this is what I want to do, and I'm not going to stop until I do it.
Yeah, so I think it was after I'd made a couple of these like films to make makeup, and I did a couple of things when I was younger. I did like a couple of events and fundraisers, and I remember
Mhm.
like I always had to have a project going on.
Yeah.
And somehow, despite being like really young, I always managed to just get it done. If I put in enough effort, I could do it. And then I realized, I was like, wow, if I literally just put in loads of effort, I can do anything I want. And so when I started making these little films, I realized, I was like, if I wanted to, I could make a film. And I think
Mhm.
the realization that I had the ability, if you just do it, you can do it. If you just keep planning it, and if you just put in enough effort, and then you can do it. And that was like, wow, okay, so now I need to do it.
Exactly. What was your process like, when you were first starting out? You'd think that, you come up with an idea, and I mean, I guess you flesh it out on some notebook paper, something like
Mhm.
that, computer. What were you shooting on at the time?
I would always shoot digital. So until I went to film school, I literally used my point and shoot. It was just like a little Canon, and pretty naff. But I always like to think it's not about the kit that you use; it's about what you do with it. Like how you make it
Yes.
work and everything. Um,
Right on.
Obviously, it'd be lovely to shoot on an Arri all the time, but
Right.
we can't do that. So
Have you
yeah, so
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, so I think like yeah, that's what I always thought. I just thought like it's about kind of like what you do with the equipment you have and who you have around you, what creatives you have around you, and how you kind of utilize everybody's best talents.
Right on. And you said you went to film school. What film school did you go to?
So I went to AUB, which is Arts University Bournemouth. It's the university. It's funny. Everybody says it's the uni that Edgar Wright went to. And we had a talk from Edgar Wright, but it turns out he didn't do the film course. He got rejected from our film course, and
Oh, wow.
and now they're like all our film teachers are like, you get an honorary degree, you know, and he's like, whatever, like he didn't let me in.
Right.
Like,
so having gone to film school, did you there's some folks that I spoke with and they went to film school and they get out and they're like, well, I made a bunch of contacts, but I kind of still feel the same way about how I want to shoot things. And like, I still have my own ideas. And I mean, I guess you would pick up on techniques and, you know, how to structure and prepare and, you know, how to get things out on a timely basis. Is there any specific thing that you learned from film school that you're glad that you went for?
Definitely. I think the biggest thing, because I think there's no right way to do things. I'm not an advocate or a naysayer for film school. I think if it's right for you, do it. If it's not, don't. Any way you do things, you will learn whatever you do. But the thing I really got from it was being around doing the screenwriting workshops and being in my class, and everybody at the school was constantly making and coming up with stories, and we would just bounce them off of each other constantly. And being in that environment, you just start to really get ahead for how to make a story and what works. And I think that was really, really beneficial for me personally. Maybe it's because I came to want to do film a bit later than other people, because I'd done that makeup route first, and so I was a bit more like new to it. But yeah, that was so helpful, just being around all of these people being like, I've got an idea for this film, there's this guy, there's a horse, and then we were like talk about it.
Man, so do you have is there any particular film that you have seen as a filmmaker now that you're just kind of like, man, that's incredible? Like, is there a film that you've seen recently that's just blown you away?
Yeah. So I think my most recent horror film that I've watched is Lamb. So
we'll just stop right here. We'll talk about that a little bit later, because I have been meaning to see that flick and I have not seen it yet. And
I won't say
oh my God. I'm so glad you mentioned Lamb, because I need to I'm putting it on my list.
Yes.
I'll probably watch it after we get off this podcast.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I watched it last night.
Really? Oh man, I'll message you after I get done watching it, and I'll have to tell you my thoughts. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So Molly, what I want to do is I want to get into some horror trivia with you. We're going to test your knowledge. It's something we do.
Oh, okay.
So I will let you pick 70s, 80s, 90s, or modern horror trivia. What would you prefer?
My instinct is to go for something older, and that's why I'm going to do the opposite and go for modern.
You're going for modern?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Molly is a brave soul. She has no fear. Modern horror trivia. For everyone listening and viewing, this podcast is brought to you by nobody but me, because I'm a one-man show. If you'd like to sponsor, I don't have a way for you to do that. Okay. In The Strangers, the main characters are coming home from what event? It's a Brian Bertino film starring...
I've seen it.
Yeah, who's it? Liv Tyler's in that?
Yeah.
Steven's daughter.
Oh my God, I literally can't remember. So coming home from, I watched it around about when it came out, and that's coming home from dinner.
You would be right if you had wrote the film, but you're not. Is a wedding reception.
I was gonna say wedding. I swear to God, I was gonna say wedding. No.
So yeah, they're coming home from a wedding reception, and then everything goes to hell. Slept on horror. If you haven't seen it, the writer-director Brian Bertino, who did the Strangers, you need to check out. What is it? The Dark and the Wicked. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I will go watch Lamb.
Yeah.
And you need to go watch The Dark and the Wicked and turn out all the lights.
Oh, nice.
And watch it.
Okay.
This is a slept-on horror flick. Brian is incredible, and I can't believe more people haven't heard about this flick. I purchased it blindly at a Walmart, and the only reason I picked it up was because of Brian's name. I had just watched The Strangers and was doing some articles for it, but oh my God, it's incredible. Moving on to question number 2.
Okay.
Who plays Patrick Bateman in American Psycho?
Oh, what? This is modern? So is this the new American Psycho?
There's only one that I know of.
Oh God, Patrick. Yeah, Christian Bale.
Got it. Thank you. Awesome.
So you know what I did? You said American Psycho. I went straight to Psycho. Gotcha. No, I love American Psycho as well. Yeah, it's such a good film.
Yeah, yuppie serial killer. Yeah. Business card scene.
Love it.
He's always talking about having returned videotapes.
Yes. Oh my God.
And as crazy as that film is, it's it's really weird seeing Reese Witherspoon as a co-star in that flick. It just seems completely out of her wheelhouse or kind of like her vibe. I don't really see her as in a horror film. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I can't think of a single horror film I've seen of that one. But I think she plays it really well. She plays this like wife who doesn't care about anything other than.
Yeah. She cares about image, wants to get married, and he's like, I can't. And then his initial reaction is, I can't take off work. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Who plays? Let's move on here. Let's do this one. Many people left the theater due to motion sickness and dizziness because of this 2008 horror flick.
Motion sickness.
It's a mix between a regularly shot film and a found footage film.
Oh, so close. No.
What?
I was gonna say nothing. But it's not Cloverfield.
It is Cloverfield.
Oh yeah.
You got it.
I thought,
absolutely.
I forgot how much of Cloverfield was not found footage, but there is some, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, yes. There's moments where it's not, but that's the majority of it. Man, what a great flick to revisit from time to time.
Yes, one of my favorite films is 10 Cloverfield Lane, I think.
Oh wow! Talk about what a contained film.
Amazing.
Very contained. I mean, you've got one location essentially.
Yeah, and it's just keeps you guessing. You just flip backwards and forwards. You don't know. You change your mind about what's going to happen every minute in that film.
Correct. All right, moving on. What year was Scream 3 released?
Scream 3. So I am going to say 2006.
2000.
Really? That 2000. Early?
Yes.
That early?
That early.
Oh my God.
Did you see the new Scream?
Yes.
Oh my God. Look, I'm a diehard, I told someone else that I'm a diehard Halloween fan.
Mm.
And I'm a big fan of this trilogy from David Gordon Green.
Yes.
And I saw Halloween Kills when it came out. When I saw Scream, I stopped it and turned it right back on and watched it again. And my reaction was, in this one film, they beat Halloween and Halloween Kills.
Oh my God.
And I believe that because when you bring back legacy characters and you introduce new, it can be very tricky. I feel like. And I feel like Scream got it all right. They got the gore right. They got the kills right. The story, it was fresh. It was very smart. That's what we were talking about on We Love Horror podcast. Give a shout out to Michael over there at We Love Horror podcast. He's got a Scream series coming out, and I was allowed to talk about the first Scream, and that's our initial thoughts on that. Was that it was fresh and smart, and even though this was sort of like a requel or whatever the term is, it was fresh and smart as well. And like I said, the kills were great. Dewey's send off was epic. Yeah, I can't get enough of Scream.
That's so interesting that you're such a big Halloween fan as well. And you were like, this was incredible. Because I do agree. I think that this new Scream is really good.
So the rumor mill is that, and I actually think this would be a good idea. The rumor mill is flying around saying that Halloween Ends, Michael dies in the first 15-20 minutes, the first third of the film.
Oh my God.
Now everybody can take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Of course.
That would be a big game changing, wouldn't it? Because that's his whole thing, is he does not die.
It's right. Even
like to do it.
The people that, and why I believe that that's not going to be a real thing is because the owners of Michael have already, they have that whole contract drawn up about he's not allowed to die ever. So
yeah,
even Jamie Lee Curtis came out and said, "What's dead anyway? What does dead even mean?" So I think David Gordon Green is going to tie it all together. I think it's going to piss a lot of people off because David's so artistic and he's a great storyteller. And I think 10 years from now, people will reflect on this David Gordon Green trilogy and be like, "Oh man, that was so fucking awesome." Sorry. Let's see here. Okay, moving on. We got a few more questions. What superhero? First of all, we're going to skip this. We're going to rephrase this question because I'm not going to refer to him as a superhero.
Okay.
What beautiful man with chiseled abs starred in the remake of the film Amityville Horror?
Oh. See, so you got, because you said superhero, you got the Insidious film stuck in my head, and now all I can think is Night Owl from Watchmen.
No.
But no. I can't remember his name. Oh my God.
You can just tell people that are going to be listening to this later are going to be screaming his name.
I know. I literally blanking. I've been having this lately. I've been having literally blank spots when I'm trying to think of something. I couldn't remember Kurt Russell earlier. I literally cannot remember. Okay, when you tell me, I'm going to absolutely kick myself.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, there we
Right.
go. Yeah, can you?
Right.
Oh, that's gonna haunt me more than Amityville Horror.
Okay, we're gonna give you one more question. This is your
Yeah.
redeeming question. It's actually a
Oh.
film that you've already talked about with me.
Ooh, okay.
Paris Hilton and Chad Michael Murray starred in this 2005 remake. It was actually a remake of a Vincent Price film. And you mentioned it on this podcast probably about 5 minutes ago.
Okay. That's fine. And I'm literally blanking again. It's the pressure. This is pressure. When you say this is a question you're going to get, you've mentioned this literally 5 minutes ago. Like, that is.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Come on. Come on, Molly. Come on. Let's keep watching. Oh my God.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. House of Wax.
Bury me. Bury me. Bury me.
House of Wax. I saw that movie in theaters.
Did you?
As a one-off. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Did you? So you saw the Achilles heel bit in like
oh yeah,
big screen.
Isn't it crazy how that harm was like that was really popular in horror flicks there for a while, wasn't it?
It was. I was literally talking about this to somebody the other day because I saw that in the new Pet Cemetery it happens.
So yeah, now that you mentioned it, I can think of 4. So Pet Cemetery, the Pet Cemetery remake, Hostel, and now House of Wax.
Yeah. It's because it's such like a icky thing.
Yeah. So everybody who listens to this and watches, make sure you tell me and Molly about all the other films that we're missing out on where everybody gets their Achilles heel slashed. Maybe we'll do a compilation.
Yeah. Best Achilles heel slashes.
Oh, that'd be terrible. Just over and over again. Everybody just getting
literally. Would you become desensitized to it, or would it get worse as you go on?
You know, I thought I was pretty desensitized until I saw here recently. I rewatched Hostel, and he cuts them, and then he's like, "Okay, you're free to go," and he gets up and tries to walk, and then that's when you see it like happen. Oh my God! And everything separates. No thanks.
Eli Roth knows how to make your skin crawl. He really does. He's I was talking about Green Inferno earlier, and that always gets me.
Oh man. That was the fun horror trivia fact. That was originally the name for Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, don't they say when they're like doing it, they're like talking about it, and they say this is the Green Inferno in like the intro or something. I think.
Yes.
And it's like amazing.
Well, talking about we're gonna go from Achilles' heels being slashed and how gross and disgusting that is. I think that's a great segue to talk about our next segment here, snacks. What are we snacking on these days? So, little ASMR. I've got so make sure everybody can see this. These little guys here, fantastic. They're $1. You get them at the dollar store, or I learned about with my interview last night, I learned about Pound World.
Yeah, Poundland.
And Poundland, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
we've got a lot of pound-related stores here. A lot of them.
Yeah, I heard. So Tom was telling me about. I said, yeah, you know, you can go to you can find some indie horror flicks in the Dollar Tree bins and stuff. And he's like, oh, we haven't got Dollar Tree. We've got Poundland and Pound World. Yeah, I'm terrible accent, but I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Like Poundland. That's all like pound. You know?
It's really good. You know, you get the best Halloween decorations at Poundland.
Really?
Yeah, because Halloween here is lacking, unfortunately. It's not like in the States, but Poundland does it.
Well, I think here in the States, it's gotten a little worse too because of the pandemic. I'll tell you what's real popular here in the States around Halloween is nobody really goes trick-or-treating anymore.
Oh, that's a shame.
The big thing to do now is what's called trunk or treat. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's kind of lame.
It
Like, it's
sounds
really
cool.
lame. It's really lame. So what these people do is, so instead of, being scared to death and trick-or-treating at night and,
Yeah.
Going up to someone's house and having to knock on the door and you don't know what you're going to get or how they're going to greet you. Now, these nice little parents who are so protective of their children, they get together at churches and random parking lots.
Yeah.
And they back their cars in and open their trunks, and everybody just goes from car to car and trunk or treats.
Okay, half the fun of Halloween is going to the scariest house on your road where you know the mean person lives and seeing if they'll give you treats.
Exactly.
That takes all of the mystery out of it.
Yeah, you might as well just go to the shop and buy candy and just hand it to the kid.
Literally. That is
Isn't that lame?
that is lame. I think half the fun is also like when you get those parents that are really into it and they get you like, you have to search for your sweets in a bowl of spaghetti and they tell you it's worms. Yeah.
I never did that.
Oh, I had a couple of parents around here and they were like, you can have your sweets, but you gotta go for the worms. And I was like, ew, ew.
Oh, that's
totally
awesome.
I thought it was worms. I was a very gullible child.
Let me ask you this. Is trick-or-treating still popular over there, like in your neighborhood?
No, it's not. I wait every year for them. I even do the thing where you put napkins on the lollipops and draw little ghost faces on them and the kids never come. It's very depressing.
Oh, I remembered that. That was so awesome.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, but no one comes to the wise residents.
How unwise of them.
Yeah. If they did, they would find all of these fantastic things I prepared for them. But oh well, all for me.
There you go. I got sidetracked. What is your snack of choice these days?
So straight up, I probably eat 3 of these a day, which is really bad. Baby Bell.
Baby Bells, yes.
Baby Bell. I know you have Baby Bells because my friend is American and we've talked about Baby Bells extensively.
Yes, Baby Bells are here. They generally are in our refrigerator. They're not today. But Baby Bell, I can get down with some Baby Bells.
Baby Bells, incredible.
And for everyone listening, Baby Bell is cheese. In case you didn't know, they're not like.
Where have you been?
Sweets or anything. Yeah.
Where have you been?
Yeah, they're wrapped in like wax, I guess.
Yeah, very continental.
Do you remember the wax lips? Did you ever get the wax lips as a kid?
No.
Do you know what those are? You'll have to Google it later.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you could get like they were wax lips and they were like a candy almost. But I'll have to put, when I edit this, I'm going to put a picture of the wax lips up so you can see it. But yeah, wax lips. Those were they were disgusting. but like kids loved them. And then like, if you're a chick or a guy trying to like harass the girls on the playground, whatever, you put the wax lips in, you'd be like, oh, come give me a kiss or whatever. Can't do that. You can't do that now because you'd be labeled a predator. But
I'm just like, every time you say wax now, I'm getting haunted by not getting the House of Wax question right. So I don't think I'll ever be able to hear the wax word again and feel safe.
Yeah, maybe the next time we do this, you pick 80s or 90s trivia.
Yeah, but it's the fact that I knew Paris Hilton was in it. I was talking to my friend about that the other day. Wasn't it weird? Paris Hilton was House of Wax. Talk about House of Wax. 3 minutes later.
Right. Get a question asked about House of Wax and can't get it.
I've been working all weekend, so that's what I'm going to blame it on. We'll
blame it on that. Well, I appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule to chat with the old chap here in the southern part of the United States. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to your film. I want you to talk about your film Venus and Mars, which is available to stream on YouTube. It's a fantastic short. Tell us how you came up with that.
So Venus and Mars basically came about because I was, I mean, a friend of mine was really in love with someone, and they didn't reciprocate it, and and they were like, "What can I do to escape this? Where can I go? Like, if I move to Australia, I can always come back. You know, there's no like escaping anything forever, if that makes sense." And then I thought about,
Yeah.
well, what if I went to Mars? And that was the entire basis for the film.
So did you mean to make a gorgeous, beautiful 16-minute short, or was that just by happenstance?
I'm glad you think it's gorgeous. Um, yeah, I just thought I wrote the script while I was in film school. I kind of went for about a year of workshopping it, and this is like what I said earlier about how it was incredible having all these people in my class so I could bounce it off them, the ideas.
Yeah.
Um, and I really, it was sprawling at the start. It was probably about 25 pages. And then I just cut it down to the bare bones, the basics, the most important thing. Every scene, it's got to mean something. Something's got to change. And when I cut it down
Right.
to that, that's what I stripped it to. And that's where we got. And then I swindled locations and from anywhere I could. And
Yeah.
that's how we shot it.
So just a quick summary, or a quick plot line, I guess, for everybody. Two characters in this film, and they're two best friends, and the best friend has informed the other that she is leaving in 2 days to go to Mars forever. And the other friend is not having it. And I mean, you talked about filming on a couple different locations. I mean, what at the end when the friend actually leaves and goes, I guess she's at NASA, quote unquote, I guess, to go on the
Yeah.
what served as NASA? Was that just like an insurance office or something like that?
Yeah, that was a funny story. So we were in my university building, and we'd been
Got it.
told, yeah, you can film here, no one's gonna care, no one's gonna mind, everybody's gone. We go in there, and in all of the offices, there are people working. And when you see the film, you realize that quite a few obscenities are shouted in that scene very loudly, and it took a lot of
Really?
takes. Yeah, well, she's calling to her friend across
Oh,
the
right.
now, and we had to do that take a lot of times, and every time we were trying to be like, saying to the actresses, "It's fine, nobody minds," but then we'd look into the offices and we'd be like, "Oh my god, they're gonna kill us," because we would just kept screaming and screaming, take after take, and it was
Right.
intense. But yeah, it
A
was
couple,
the perfect building.
man, I love the way that it was shot. I loved the lighting, the blue light. I thought that was incredible, the way that was used. Um, what stood out to me the most was definitely lighting and this sense of tension, whether it be, I'm not a film critic, but whether that tension was sexual or there was something that wasn't being said by someone and you could feel it. And you're like, okay, obviously this girl loves this girl and is not expressing it. And now it's too late. And now
I don't know
she,
if that's. Oh, sorry, you go.
is no, this is just me interpreting it. It's almost like
Yeah.
these two people they just got each other. They were meant to be together, but instead this girl's going away forever. And in a sense, her friend was going away forever by getting married to the guy that she didn't think she should be with.
Yeah.
So I thought it was, man, there's a lot of emotions in it. Like I said, the tension and the lighting, like the story, everything was great. I thought it was perfect.
Oh, thank you so much.
But who am
I
I?
love making it. No, I mean, it's really special to hear people saying that. And I think with the whole unspoken emotions, I don't know if it's just because I'm British, but we don't talk about our feelings or anything. And things get unsaid for years. And so that was when I was
Really?
writing it. Yeah, we are very, very kind of stiff upper lip kind of people. we really don't talk a lot. I think we do more so nowadays, but still, I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of awkwardness. There's a lot of not saying what you feel. So I think, yeah, you know what, the whole film could have been avoided if they just had a good discussion about it, but we don't do that here. So it was very like that.
Meanwhile, in the United States, we wear our feelings on our sleeves, and you know, if someone's upset you, you're damn well going to know that they've upset you.
Yeah.
You're going to hear about it, you know. So, tell me about upcoming projects. I mean,
Yeah.
this was such a great work. Hopefully you've got something else coming soon, because I'd love to see it. What are you working on right now?
So I got the horror coming up.
Oh,
so
okay.
yes. So this is my upcoming horror. We are shooting it in December. It's called Trust Thy Sister.
Trust Thy Sister.
Trust Thy Sister, and it's
Can you give
about
us any
these.
plot details?
Of course, yeah. So it's set around the 16th century British witch trials. So
Oh.
while Salem was happening in America, we had our own thing. We were going through a civil war. There was a lot of unrest, and it was tearing people apart, and people blamed witches. They were an easy scapegoat. We had witch finder generals who were people that got paid to hunt witches, and it was all a horrific, crazy time, especially in rural areas like where I'm from, where superstition and mystique and everything just ran wild. People's imaginations and their paranoia and hysteria went crazy.
I'm looking forward to that. It really sounds like, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm sorry, I was just thinking about how horrific those witch trials were and those witch hunts were, and how devastating. What a disgusting stamp on our society, and on our history as a people.
Yeah.
Me, you, like everybody on this blue and green planet. You know, what a disgusting stamp that, you know, like I can't even believe that happened.
Yeah. It's crazy, and this is interesting. When I was at college, I studied this for was one of my main things, was history, studying the witch trials. So what we really found out was it happened because everybody was in so much pain. There was like this mini ice age going across Europe that just cut out all the crops, killed them all. There was the Civil War, 100 Years War, 30 Years War, and just everything was so bad. They were like, there's got to be a reason. And some guys in Germany wrote the Malleus Maleficarum, the Hammer of the Witches, and then it just spread like a fire. Horrific.
And meanwhile, over in the States, the Salem witch trials, it's like, oh my God, she can read, burn her.
Yeah, literally.
What a bunch of ignorant people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Especially in these cut off societies where it was just, especially, I think a lot, especially in America, because it was this whole new land for all these people, wasn't it? And just no one knew. Everyone was like way out of their element. And
well, if you've kept up with the news, if you've kept up with the news at all in the States, not that we're not political at all on this channel. But it's kind of like, well, thank God for old white men back then and now for telling us how to live.
Yeah, literally.
Bless them. I mean, they just, they've been in everybody's shoes, so they know exactly, how you should feel.
They know what's best for us. I'm glad that they're there. I feel safe at night.
Right. Enough dumb politics. Let's get into current viewings. Oh. So you mentioned Lamb. Is that an A24 film?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay. Fantastic.
They know how to do it.
Oh yeah, they do. They know how to make you feel some damn uncomfortable. So I'm looking very forward to checking that out and giving you my thoughts. We shared earlier that Brian Bertino's film, The Dark and the Wicked. You got to check that one out. Anything else you've seen here recently?
Oh, So I was very prepared with Lamb. So I'm just gonna have a very quick think about what is a recent film that I really.
I have to ask,
Oh
if you're a sci-fi fan, have you watched Kenobi?
no, I haven't yet. Oh, I am very behind on series. I am.
Okay.
I find series very difficult. But you know what? I'm going to talk about a series actually. I'm gonna talk
Okay.
about a series. I can talk about a sci-fi series that is incredible and amazing. It's by Alex Garland. He's just released Men, the upcoming horror film, here in the UK.
I went and saw that.
Did you? I haven't seen it yet.
I saw
Okay.
Men.
Thinking.
How do I describe Men? It's almost like someone snorted a lot of blow and was like, especially for the final act.
Yeah.
It's imagine someone going, hey, you know what? I got a fantastic idea for this ending. And the other guy is sitting across from him and he snorts it and he's like, what do you got? Imagine if the bad guy grows a vagina and then like another one of him comes out. And it just happens like over and over and over again. So
Amazing.
I don't want to give away too much of the film for you. I want you to enjoy it. But that for real happens. So
oh my God.
When I saw it in theaters, it's I'm sitting on the end at the end of the aisle, and across from and to my right is a bunch of dudes, and that scene starts, and I start giggling and because I'm immature, so I start giggling, and they start giggling, and we both look over at each other in our group, and we're like, "What the fuck, man? What were they? You got to be kidding me! What movie are we watching?" Because it's really a sad film. This lady has lost her husband and feels responsible. Is really what the story's about, and she's went away for the weekend or whatever to try to regroup and repackage herself and calm down and stuff, and she doesn't. It's creepy as hell. I can't wait for you to see it.
Oh, I'm so excited now, and I love now I'm excited that someone wrote it while just doing lines, because that's what I want to see. I want to see something crazy.
I don't know if he was doing lines, but I think that they had to be.
Yeah, disclaimer, we don't know, but maybe.
Yeah, we don't know. We're not going to assume anyone was doing any illegal substances. Okay.
No.
But I can't wait for you to message me later. You'd be like, oh my God, Jess, you were right. There was so many vaginas.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, I can't wait.
It was so weird. So Men, Lamb, The Dark and the Wicked. What else you got?
So the series is what so the series is by that director, Men. It's called Devs, this TV series, and it came out about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And it is sci-fi, because Alex Garland also did obviously Ex Machina and Annihilation. So
that's where I remember that name.
Yes. Yeah, he's the man.
So I have Ex Machina right over on the shelf somewhere. I need to finish it because I started it, fell asleep. I got to finish it. But everybody that I talked to has been like, I've been recommending that movie to everybody.
Yeah.
So Alex, I did not know that. Ex Machina and Alex. Okay. Yeah.
He's an incredible guy. Notes. He also wrote the script for Sunshine and 28 Days Later. He's literally done everything. And then he wrote the novel, The Beach, which the film The Beach was based on. So he's literally done everything. He is like an incredible person.
Molly, we need to get him on the show.
Yeah.
Surely you know him. Garland, is he from the UK?
I think he is. Oh, wait. Men is British. I don't actually. Yeah, I'm 80% sure he's British. If he is, then I need to find him and get him on.
Yeah, call him real quick and tell him we want to talk to him.
Yeah. All right, Alex.
Be great.
How's it going?
Right. Might as well call him Robert Eggers, all those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, Edgar Wright while I'm at it.
Right. Do you kind of see yourself falling in with that kind of filmmaking? Like, do you have kind of like that same kind of passion? Like, does your mind kind of operate that way as far as horror is
What,
concerned?
what, like doing some lines and then
Just
writing the script?
no. Don't do any lines. No. I mean, you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But do you see yourself how do I say this? Do you see yourself wanting to kind of step out into that realm of horror, as far, instead of doing something maybe campy, doing something like Lamb, something where somebody has to think about it?
Yeah, I think I like a balance. I always like a balance.
Yeah.
So I don't, nothing I ever do is too art house, just because that's not me.
Right.
I did not grow up in a very artistic background. Like, none of my family are in the arts, so it's just not really my level. I love art house, and I will put a little bit into my films, but I never can do too far that way. I think something I have always has to have a little bit of raw, you see what you get, visceral stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think a balance is important in everything. Yeah, I would say that, but I say I'm still finding my style personally. We will see. The next film I might change completely and do the most. My next film might just be a red cube for the whole film, and I'm like, you've got to really think about it.
I'm going to recommend, I have one more recommendation for you. It's actually a film that we had the cast and crew on for an interview. It's called The Box. It's done by Graham Jenkins, I believe is his name. I'm going to send you the link, okay? I think you'd really enjoy it. The majority of this entire film takes place in this boxed in area. It looks like an apartment, but it's just a box, and this guy's like trying to get out. So it's a very contained film and a very minimal cast. I think you'll love it.
I'm excited for that. I love a contained film.
It was Graham and oh man, what was his name? I'm gonna pull this up for you real quick, okay? Let's see. The Box. It was directed by Sasha Sibley, and Graham is the lead in it. And I don't know how better to describe it. It's fantastic. When I watched it, it's kind of like when I was watching your film, Venus and Mars. And I've said this before. There's certain indie films that, there's no budget indie films. There's micro budget. There's minimal budget, and then there's like some kind of a big budget. There's all for different on the spectrum here. So when I saw your film, and like I can attest that it's the same as this. Like when you watch it, you're like, this is incredible. This is incredibly done. Good piece of work. You can tell they put their passion in it, their time. They wanted everything to look really well. In addition to the story. So I think you're going to really enjoy it.
I'm excited for that. I've got some good recommendations. It's going to keep me busy.
Well, and that's how else will we build a community? I mean, because the indie horror community, I feel like, is still kind of small, and we've taken it upon ourselves to try to expand that. And everybody's talking about Halloween, and everybody will talk about the next Nightmare on Elm Street, and we'll leave A24 alone because they're incredible.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these independent films, some of these are fantastic, and these directors and filmmakers, they deserve their due. And that's what we're setting out to do. We want everyone talking about them. You,
Yeah.
Sasha, everybody. So that actually brings us to our next segment. This is the point in our podcast, everybody, where you know what's coming next, our motivation segment. We're going to have Miss Molly tell us, if she could go back and give herself any kind of advice as a young Molly who was not obsessed with making films yet. What advice would you give her, and what advice would you give someone who's thinking about stepping out and wanting to write a story and wanting to make a movie? What would you say?
I would say, first of all, one of the most useful things you have when you're making films is, if you're working as the director or the producer, is the people around you, the talent that you can find, because there are so many talented people around, and finding those people and bringing them together, that's when you make something incredible, when you just bring all of these different. So I think the most important thing to me is my friends have always been incredibly patient with me and been dressed up in the weirdest costumes.
Right.
Shout out to Megan and Holly, who have Megan has been in the weirdest shit. I'm so sorry for her. I tied balloons in her hair once on a windy day and she almost got whiplash.
Oh, wow.
Friends are yeah, bless her. Friends are very important. If you're starting out, just I think get your friends together and make something, and use everybody's creativity and just pour it in and make something insane. And that then brings me on to my next thing, which is, if you've got an insane idea, just make it, because there's not enough crazy original ideas out there, and everybody has these amazing ideas, and I just think, throw them all out there. Throw the villains being birthed by vaginas.
Oh my God. It was so wild.
I can't wait.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Neither could the other guys. So Molly, so we've had a conversation today with Molly Wise, filmmaker, writer, director. You can check her stuff out on YouTube. She can be found at Molly Wise. Molly, you want to plug where else they can find you at?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Molly L Wise, and that's where you can find me on anything. I mostly operate on Instagram. My YouTube is Molly Wise, and I can link maybe in the description the website for my new horror film, so you can learn all about Trust Thy Sister.
Absolutely. If you want to send that link over, I'll make sure that gets put in the show notes and all of that. We definitely want to have you back, and maybe bring a couple of cast members along if they want to tag along. We'll do a big episode maybe after it's released.
Perfect. That'd be amazing.
Awesome. So well, cool. I look forward to it. Molly, I want to thank you once again for joining us today. We've had Molly Wise. Everybody go check her out. Her stuff's incredible. We look forward to having her back. Molly, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been lovely.
Awesome. Can't wait to do it again. Thanks.
Thank you.